Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Red Steak. Let's get started. So some big news came out of the NFL today. Now let's start with the first big news. So the first bombshell in the more expected news, in my opinion, was that Aaron Rodgers will remain in Green Bay, and he was going to sign a 4-year, $200 million deal with 153 million that guaranteed, so basically 50 million a year. I was honestly surprised at the length of this contract since he's been so wishy-washy in Green Bay. I didn't expect him to sign long term, but apparently he wanted that in his contract, and he got it. So for Green Bay, this doesn't change much. They'll win the division every year because Chicago's not going to rebuild. Detroit is always Detroit, and then Minnesota. While I feel like they could be good with their Kevin O'Connell, who's the Rams OC, now their head coach. I mean, Kirk Cousins' quarterbacks are still limited. So they're going to win their division every year. They're most likely going to be a 1 or 2 seed every single year. For a while, during this contract. However, I don't think the Packers can win a Super Bowl. Now, they will be a Super Bowl contender because, in my opinion, if I can see you making an NFC Championship game, then you're a contender. But for me, I just don't see them winning the Super Bowl. Here is the reason why. As we have seen with quarterbacks being the highest paid quarterback, it is hard to then be able to get enough talent or at least have enough depth around you to then be successful. You saw it with the Nets, you had the big three, but then their bench completely stunk, so it's kind of hard to do well in the playoffs when you kind of have that situation there. And that's what Green Bay has, especially since while they draft well, they're, historically cheap in free agency, which doesn't help. So I feel like, good for Rodgers, getting his money and all that, but it's just like, in my opinion, he's now costed the Packers and winning the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion. The other big news, and this one was the more surprising one, was Russell Wilson being traded to Denver. And Denver also gets a 4th-round pick. Seattle, they do 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a 5th, and then quarterback Drew Lock, defensive end Shelby Harris, and tight end Noah Fant. So for the Seahawks, the front office made another head-scratching move, in my opinion. You only got 2 first-rounders. Wilson is worth at least 3 first-rounders. I would have tried to go 4 first-rounders. Now, some may say, well, they got 3 players to make up for that. But it's like, well, no offense, he's a starting tight end, but he's not an elite tight end. Shelby Harris is like a good locker room guy. Is a decent defensive end, again on the older side, and then Drew Lock's the backup quarterback. So it's like you didn't really get that many great players. So I just feel like that was once again Seattle, especially recently, has been known for making weird trades and dumb moves and all. That's one of them right there. Then my next question is, okay, well, who's going to be the quarterback for Seattle? I know that you got Locke in the trade, but like I just said, he's not a franchise QB, and he's not even a bridge QB. He's a backup QB. So I mean, who do they go? Do they go with a bridge quarterback, or do they decide to just restart all over and just get one from the draft this year? And since they're going to have the 9th overall pick, they're going to have their choice of quarterback. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Or they can play just use Drew Lock this year and tank and get a top 5 pick next year and get a Bryce Young, Alabama, or C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. So that would be kind of interesting to see what could happen there. As for the Broncos, I do love this move. Wilson has more left in tank than Rodgers. No drama with Wilson, unlike Rodgers, and it's better than having another bridge QB like Bridgewater was this year, or drafting one and crossing your fingers that it works out. Broncos are now Super Bowl contenders, and they have a lot of other pieces that they need to win. Like a lot of people say, oh, this is like Brady going to the Bucs. The Bucs had the pieces; they just need the quarterback, and I agree. That's the case for the Broncos as well. And as Brady and Matthew Stafford showed us, you don't have to wait a year or two to get used to the system and all that and get acclimated before you hit the ground running. You can win a Super Bowl in year 1 despite being on a new team and all that. Now, like Stafford, Wilson will be in the toughest division of football. Not that he's been used to that, being in the NFC West and all that, but if you're a Broncos fan, history is on your side here. And what I mean by this is that the 2 times you had a Super Bowl Hall of Famer quarterback, and both quarterbacks are considered top 10 of all-time quarterbacks in Elway and Peyton Manning, you won a Super Bowl with. Now, will Russell Wilson Broncos win one this year? Not sure, sir. I mean, AFC is the best it's ever been before, so it's hard to say. What I can say, and I'll say it pretty confidently, is that Wilson will at least win one Super Bowl in his career. One more Super Bowl in his career. It'll be with this team. Now, if I'm Wilson, no, the Broncos, you better hope you kind of win the Super Bowl within the next couple of years. One, because these young quarterbacks are only going to get better and better as time goes on. And then two, you have a bunch of young, inexpensive pieces right now. So if you can win right now, you can then it's easier before everyone starts getting expensive and you have to decide who to keep, who not to keep and stuff. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Denver. I'm going forward. And this kind of leads me to my next topic of NFL quarterback musical chairs. As we know, last year there was a whole bunch of quarterback movement, and I counted to start. I'm not counting back quarterbacks who had to start. I'm just counting week one starters last year. There was 14 new starters, and we've already seen some movement this year now with Russell Wilson going to Denver. We know Seattle's gonna have a new QB. We know Pittsburgh's gonna have a new QB. Um, so now my question is, okay, so how many new starting quarterbacks are there going to be this year? So I thought, okay, let's go through each team, see who I feel like they're going to go get, and then they'll answer the question. So let's get started with Pittsburgh, who's going to need a quarterback. My opinion, they're going to get Kenny Pickett from the draft, and here's the reason. I feel since he's had plenty of college experience as he is a fifth year senior and all that, he's a no product who can just come in and contribute. So you're not Malik Willis or Mark Crowell. You could just cross in your fingers, that they hope they turn out to be good. Because with Pittsburgh, they're not going to want to go through years and years of rebuild. So Kenny Pickett is going to be kind of like a Mac Jones here. Oh, well, he's not going to be as good as Mac Jones, but he's going to be Mac Jones as far as, okay, he's the most ready now. So he's going to come in, he can win some games during his rookie years and all that until, we can find that, guy, like, for example, if Watson's legal suit hurdles get cleared, all that, and then go trade for him or something. So it's kind of like, basically he's not going to be the franchise quarterback, maybe, unless Ronnie is that great, but he's going to be kind of like a bridge guy, except he's a bridge already as a rookie. Next, Cleveland. Cleveland has said multiple times that, if they roll with Baker, that's fine, but they're going to keep their options open as far as looking for quarterbacks, whether that's either draft or free agency or anything like that. So that's why I listed Cleveland on here. But in the end, I do feel like they're going to keep him because there's not that many better options out on the free agency or trade market. And yeah, you might be able to draft one that's better and less drama and all that type of stuff. But again, it's just like you might want to wait till like maybe next year's quarterback class or something. So that's and plus see Baker fully healthy after last year's debacle. So I think they're going to roll with Baker at least for 1 year. Indianapolis. Now, they want to move off Carson Wentz. Now, the problem is there's not a lot of options as far as moving off Carson Wentz. They're going to get immediately better. But if they're that determined to move off Carson Wentz, then I feel like there is an option here. And it might be a surprising option to most people. But I have Jameis Winston as their option. Here's the reason why. I know he's not as mobile as Carson Wentz is. And he's coming off a major injury, which is scary because, Carson Wentz is injury prone. So Indianapolis doesn't want to deal with, people with injury history and all that. But I think the Colts will notice that, Sean Payton was able to coach in his 1 year the interceptions out of Jameis Winston because that was Jameis Winston's flaw. And Jameis Winston's ceiling as a passer, in my opinion, is higher than Carson Wentz. So they just need him to not screw things up. Just play within the system, get the ball, Jonathan Taylor, just be a distributor like, Sean Payton was making him do. And plus, Jameis Winston's used to not working with a lot of weapons, like a.k.a. last year when he did have a lot of good wide receivers, with Michael Thomas out and all that. So I feel like instead of drafting one, crossing your fingers if you're at Indianapolis, especially since you don't have a first-round pick, I feel like they're going to go Jameis Winston here on a 1-year prove-it deal. Next is Washington. I'm going to have them go with Teddy Bridgewater. Now, it's not the splash that I know they're wanting to make, but I feel like he's more the safer option and more of a bridge quarterback, in my opinion, than Heineke is. Of course, Teddy Bridgewater's not as mobile as Heineke, but I feel like Heineke could be a very good backer for them and win some games if need be. But if I were them, I'd go with Teddy Bridgewater. He's a grown-up, proven veteran. That's what Ron Rivera likes, especially a defensive guy. He just wants a game manager, and that's what they get there. not Green Bay, New Orleans, I meant. So for them, I have them starting, believe it or not, Taysom Hill. And this is if Jameis Winston leaves. Well, then it's like you could bring Teddy Bridgewater back since he's had success there, but it's like, I mean, you can, but I mean, you already got a bridge quarterback that you're paying so much money to. Taysom Hill, you might as well get your investment there. Now, Taysom Hill's coming off of list rank injuries. That's not great by any means. But Taysom Hill, he'll have Michael Thomas back, which he was awesome with back during his 4 starts in the 2020 season. They had such a great connection there. You said they're going to draft more weapons and all that. So he could be a total bridge guy while they draft another quarterback. Let's say they draft Sam Howell of North Carolina. Maybe they trade in the early second round or something to get him. And then he can learn behind Taysom Hill for a year or two before he's ready to take over. Something like that is what I'm thinking there. Seattle. So you remember we were talking about, okay, who's going to be the quarterback? For me, I feel like they're not going to trade for Carson Wentz or something. I feel like they're just not going to do that. So, because then they have to give us some of their picks that they just got from Russell Wilson trade, so it wouldn't make any sense there. So for me, I feel like they're not going to go to the draft quite yet here. I feel like they're going to go get a free agent. And if Jason Winston's gone, he's a top free agent. And Ted Bridgewater's gone, that means the next best one, in my opinion, is Mitchell Trubisky, because it's either him or Marcus Mariota. But I feel like they're going to go Mitchell Trubisky route. He's been in multiple playoffs. He's been in the NFC. He's a very mobile. I mean, Marcus Mariota's mobile, but he doesn't have the body type that Mitchell Trubisky has. So I feel like Pete Carroll will be more willing to have just go with him. Be a running type of team like they always are, and rely on their running game and defense and all that stuff because that's what he is. And then maybe next year, and then they can figure something out quarterback wise. Tampa Bay. I've only seen like one other person say this, but I feel like Carson Wentz here is an excellent fit for Tampa Bay. For Tampa Bay, I know they would want someone better than Carson Wentz, but he's not a bad option per se. There's a couple reasons why this could happen. One is they're a winning roster. They just need a bridge QB until they can find something that's way better. 2, Bruce Arians, we know, is a risk it, no biscuit guy, and that's the type of style Wentz likes to play. He doesn't have to be the safe conservative type like they wanted him to be in Indianapolis. So therefore, I feel that it plays right into his hand. He'll like it there. He has a bunch of weapons versus the Colts where wide receivers wise, he have a lot of weapons. So I feel like Tampa Bay City in general is kind of loosey-goosey and all that. So I just feel like it's kind of a perfect fit for him there. Carolina, I feel like they're going to stick with Sam Darnold for now. It wouldn't surprise me if they draft a quarterback, even though I feel like 6 is a little bit high, so I feel like they need to trade down a little bit. But I feel like they want Deshaun Watson, but until that legal stuff gets cleared up, they'll just stick with Sam Darnold for now. San Francisco, I feel like they're going to just stick with Jimmy G, mainly because I just don't feel like Trey Lance is just completely ready yet. So I feel like they're going to, stick with Russell Wilson. Jimmy G gets hurt again or something, or if he regresses or whatever from surgery and all that, then yeah, you roll Trey Lance. But for right now, they probably want to groom a little more. And last but not least, Arizona, Kyler Murray. Despite this whole, money deal and all that, I just feel like he's going to stay with Arizona. So I don't feel like he's in any danger there of leaving or getting traded. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast. Please subscribe to my channel and tell everyone about me. Thank you very much, and you'll have a wonderful day.